Hi, this is a video for young people across Europe to explain why England are doing what they're doing at the moment with Brexit. Anne Whitcomb from the Brexit Party recently gave a speech in the EU saying how the way that the recent elections have turned out was undemocratic, which clearly shows the undemocratic ways of the EU and is the main reason why we're leaving the EU. Okay, so this is to Anne Whitcomb. I'm speaking right now to Anne Whitcomb. Okay, so you are so hung up, right, about this one point of how the European Union does things in an undemocratic way. Okay, and also how the UK are treated in a way which is not equal to other countries, with certain regulations, policies, tariffs that are applied, and you don't like that, okay? And you think it's unfair compared to other countries, for example, Greece or someone like that, or Spain, someone like that, and to be disadvantaged compared to those other countries is unfair. Okay, so first of all, looking at things from the perspective of Europe, okay? So England, we are renowned to be probably the most popular place in Europe. We have the financial capital of Europe, and historically we have been the ones who have fought oppression in Europe. We have resisted, different things which have gone on in history, such as the wars, that sort of thing. And at the same time, we have led the way for being democratic and not being part of a world which is controlled by someone else. Okay, I think that is great, and that's something that Anna Wickham brought up. Right, she's brought up in the past. When there is oppression, the people will oppress back, okay? And that's true. And, she brought up things like slavery and stuff, okay? But, obviously that's quite extreme. But for me, Anne Wickham and the Brexit Party are so focused on this one point of how the EU is undemocratic, right? It's true, It's something which isn't good, which is wrong, okay? It's true, right? But looking at all the other things as part of being part of the EU, right? The benefits we get from them, or how the society we have today, the world we live in England, has been formed thanks to being part of the EU since the last World War finished, right? Look at what today is, right? All the factors, some good, some bad, but lots of good, okay? And then look at the stuff that we're going to suffer from by leaving the EU, right? Such as the economic problems we will suffer from, billions of debt by 2030, and also the perception we're giving to our home territory, which we formed together a union, to come together, where people from through the ages, have settled in the land of Europe. We have been a unit since the war as well. We are people from similar backgrounds. We all have our own individual cultures. We have our own languages. We all more or less look similar. We are of one. Okay, and just because just one point about the EU being decisions are done in an undemocratic way and the UK is not treated as fairly as some other nations, just this one point is why we are completely leaving the EU, right? And I think, right, the problem is not the EU. The problem is the EU, but the problem isn't being part of Europe. The problem, is this undemocratic way things are being done, okay? But the factors surrounding this problem, there are so many, and it's just based on one point. Things are done in a way we might not like, okay? We are part of a union, right? And when you're working in a team, when you're part of a union, you're going to have to accept the ways of others if you like it or not, okay? And like I said, if you look at England today, right, the society that we live in, the infrastructure, the services, the health we have, the education, the knowledge we can get, such as in technology, in engineering, in medicine, those things come, a lot of them come from Europe, 5G was being developed in Prague and Czechoslovakia, not England, okay? Lots of medicines are thanks to being part of Europe, Portugal, they're doing very advanced things with, let's call it relaxing sedative products to ease pain in hospitals, really advanced things which is not possible in other parts of the world, microbiological engineering being developed in areas of Germany and the Netherlands, we're not doing that, okay? Think of all the cars and all the food and those sort of things, right? Look, you just got to, if you could write a report, of what makes up the world you're born into in your country, and if you're English, okay, or if you're born in England, and, if you could write a report, right? There's probably about, 500 things? 500 things, okay? 500. And this one point, right, about how, we're not happy, or, the Conservatives, the Brexit Party aren't happy about how things are done, they're not done in a democratic way, that one point versus all these other factors that have formed the world we live in today, right? You've got to realise, just by not being happy with things being undemocratic, we've still arrived to where we are today in this, in the world that someone who's born English lives in, okay? The benefits of health, the Conservatives want to, I am originally a Conservative, okay? They want to privatise health, that's going to take the the ability to have free healthcare away from a lot of the people in the country, that they won't be able to afford that, privatising education, the same thing, right? And you just got to look at where we are and what we've got to today, right? And by leaving, just because of one point, that the Brexit Party, which Anne Wickham has brought up, is not happy about, that things aren't done things are done in an undemocratic way, we've still arrived to the world we are living in today, even though that might be the case, okay? And what is really frustrating is that the people of Europe think that England do not like Europe. That is wrong. Even the Conservatives, even the Brexit Party, they like European people. They like them. They just don't like how the European Union is run, okay? And look, we tried, 2 years ago to try and sort things out, right? We tried something which is great, We tried something, but it wasn't the right solution, but we tried and failed, which is good, you can learn, but it wasn't the right thing to do, which would have been nicer to have got it right, okay? So David Cameron approached the European Union asking to change a few things, and they said no, okay? And he knew that they were, not obedient, or, they would be stubborn, they wouldn't change their minds. And England are leaving the EU because we know that things are done in an undemocratic way. We would not be sacrificing, billions of debt, by like I said, by the year 2030, if we didn't know for a fact that things were done in an undemocratic way in the EU. The largest party in the EU, the Brexit Party, wouldn't be that big if we weren't so sure about things being done in an undemocratic way. But like I said, things are being done like that, but where we've arrived today is, we've arrived today even with things being done in an undemocratic way, okay? And look, what Anna Wickham says, that, I am not against her. I agree with what she says, and what she's done, I think, is actually a good thing, okay? I am pro-Europe, I'm not going to turn my back against Europe, but what she's done is better than what David Cameron did. She has raised awareness and told, amongst the other members of the EU, she has said that the European Union is undemocratic, okay? She hasn't gone behind their backs and published things and been sneaky, that sort of thing. She's just said it, right? And we know that it's true. We know that it's true. And what would have been great would have been David Cameron to have gone about things in a different way, okay? So, look, we know that the European Parliament are doing things in an undemocratic way. Do we think they're going to be democratic and agree with the changes we want? Probably not. So doing that was foolish, okay? And then you got to think, okay, we want X. How can we achieve X, okay? And what we want is something which is just, you know, it's not something which is immoral or whatever. We're doing the right thing, okay? So you got to think, okay, how can we get buy-in from people where we can build momentum to achieve what we want, rather than running away from the problem, right? And leaving the EU, because leaving the EU, I really don't think that the Conservatives and the Brexit Party, the MPs in those parties really realise, first of all, the world at the moment, right? We're living in the digital internet world, okay? Things are changing faster than ever, okay? Every 3 months, things are changing faster than you can possibly imagine in all aspects of life, okay? With the advancement of technology and science, okay? And we're going to really set ourselves back, and you know it's going to take us 10 to 20 years to maybe recover economically. That amount of time versus how fast the world is moving now really would put us in a big disadvantage, give us a big disadvantage, because you know we're limiting ourselves in lots of different ways, in you know, financially, and just, you know, in terms of just our reputation, relationships with 20 to 30 to 40 different countries, you know, in and around Europe, and we will not be able to progress and keep up with the world by setting ourselves back, you know, at this time when things are moving so fast, faster than ever. If you just have a look at the last 20 years, the amount the world's going to change, just think about how it's going to change. And we want to put ourselves in billions of debt, take away the benefits we may have with trade, other sorts of advancements we would get from being part of Europe, okay? And the democratic leg we always have to stand on, as we've always taken the initiative throughout history to, you know, when there's a problem, to deal with that problem. And we have never been undemocratic and done dictatorial things, you know, which a dictatorship may do, or where a country in oppression has. But what's actually happening at the moment is that we are going backwards and we are becoming undemocratic. The Conservatives, you know, we can see in recent polls for the European Union, they are at the bottom of the pile. They are not popular anymore. So what they're now doing is they're now taking more control and listening less to our nation. We know that 52% of the country voted to leave the European Union with the benefits communicated to them by parties such as the Brexit Party, okay? However, the deal which they voted for wasn't achieved. Did they vote for a no deal? Ask 52% of the people, did they vote for that? I can tell you, not all of them did. I can tell you that about 2% at least of those people will say, no, we didn't. So to say that they want to leave the country with no deal, which we know is going to put us in billions of debt, it's going to ruin the relationships we have, and it's also going to disadvantage us, like I said, in terms of the society and the world we know, the things we've been born into today, by thanks to being part of the European Union in the last 40, 60 years, okay? 70 years. So, you know, all those things, just because they're upset with one little point. That point might be wrong, okay? It might be wrong that the European Union are doing things in an undemocratic way, okay? But so what? You know, the good points that we've arrived to today by being part of the European Union, right? The society, the things we know, the prices, the services we use, so many different things, the foods, what we know today, right, is being risked, thrown away. I don't know, we can't call that. We don't know what's happening with the whole what's going to happen before or after, right? But we do know for a fact that those things probably won't be the same. Things will change for us in some way or another, okay? So we're throwing that away, right? And on top of that, we're putting ourselves in lots of debt, okay? The economists have done a very detailed study of how much debt we are putting ourselves in, and manufacturers and corporations are leaving the UK. They've already done that. Toyota have already moved to Amsterdam. Ford have started closing their, some of their centres down. Anyway, so we're just basically throwing. We can argue how much we are throwing away, how much we aren't throwing, but it's not. Let's be honest, it's not. It's more negative than positive, isn't it? Like if it happened today, what we'd be left with, if we left, there's going to be more bad things than good things, right? And we're all doing that for one little point. For one point, things are not being done in a way we like, right? So Anne Wickham and the Brexit Party, they're getting caught up with their emotions and thinking, oh, we don't like that, that's wrong, right? But if you just think with your head and write up the 500 points, all the different things, that we've benefited from over the last 60, 70 years to create the world we live in today, okay? All those things. And you write up against those points, each one, how they're being improved. There are 2 to 3 points that the Brexit Party and the Conservatives, or 10 points, maybe there's more, that they're we're going to benefit. So there's 10 points that are going to benefit us more. I don't know. Look, I'm doing this video. I could do it many times, but I think this is something which irrelevant of the individual facts. We don't have to go into loads of detail. So this one point is going to bring us 2 to 3, 10 benefits, okay? Or is it even going to bring us any benefits, So it's just caught up on this one thing we don't like. It's wrong, okay. It's like reading a sentence in a book and there's a spelling error. But the sentence still has the same meaning, doesn't it, okay? So we don't like this one point, but still, we've arrived to today and we've established over the years, we've had lots of successful leaders in Prime Minister. England have achieved lots of different things in sport, in education, in engineering, whatever, all those different things. And we've all achieved that by being part of the European Union, haven't we? Okay? So this one point might be wrong. And it is wrong. It is wrong. But to get it changed, I think is to run away from it, to leave and put us in a disadvantage for the next 10 to 20 years versus the pace of how the world is moving, to set up trade and, all the different things, which, they've talked about, like new trade pathways with India, with China or whatever, right? That's going to take quite a lot of time, the logistics of those things, versus, in the meantime, the pace at which the world is moving, and we are being so focused on getting rid of our old friendships and making new friendships. We have a history with Europe, and it's gone well. We've all worked together, haven't we? But anyway, so the main point is just this one thing, right? This one little thing, okay? The European Union is undemocratic, and that's great. And England, we do not hate Europe. We don't. We like Europe. It can be argued that England like European people more than anyone in the world, more than any European nation, because we allow in a huge variety of European people because we like them. We like them, okay? Other nations, if you go to nations throughout Europe, they do not have the diversity of Europeans that we have. They don't. So to think that England don't like Europeans is wrong. The Brexit Party, they actually like European people, okay? The Conservative Party, they like European people. We love our business partners, you know? We love the people who come here to work. So we've got no problems with the people. It's just how things are run, okay? And we're upset with that, but rather than trying to change it, okay, we got told we can't change it with David Cameron 2 years ago. What I was talking about earlier is that, okay, what would be another approach? So look, I'm a service designer, okay? It's quite a new industry. It's the development of services for people across anything, like transport, finance, health, and to now make things digital, okay? So you'd use an app as a focal point. So for example, cars, it's now being controlled by an app. You get your Uber, okay? But to create these services in digital world, we need to understand people. We need to understand the different stakeholders involved with that service, okay? So David Cameron, our problem with being undemocratic, okay? With the European Union being undemocratic. So who are the stakeholders, okay? You've got the European Parliament. What do we know about them? They're undemocratic, okay? They are doing things in an undemocratic way, okay? Would they be a good person to work with to try and change things? Probably not, okay? That's one person. Who else have we got? The public, okay? How many different countries have we got within there, you know? We've got England, we've got France, we've got Spain, we've got Italy, we've got Germany, we've got Hungary, we've got Greece, we've got so many different countries, you know? I mostly listed the Eastern ones, but whatever, okay? Sorry, the Western ones. We have people who want what's fair, okay? And what I think Anne Whitcomb has done really well, okay? I don't know what her ultimate motive is, but she has raised awareness for what's going on. The people in countries, from where I've been, I go to Spain quite often. I have friends in Germany. I have friends in Hungary, okay? I also have some friends. I have some friends in France as well. A lot of the people there are very pro-European, okay? But if you ask them, or if you explain to them that things were undemocratic, they would probably be like, oh, that's not good, okay? They might be, these people, you know, England, we like to take initiative, don't we, you know? We like to be pioneers, well, we have been pioneers for a long time, okay? But sometimes saying, I know better doesn't work. You have to get people on board, raise awareness, provide transparency, because before, maybe we could be the leader and people would follow, but it doesn't work like that now. The other places have caught up, you know, with technology, that sort of thing, okay? So, you know, leaving and disadvantaging ourselves just doesn't make sense. But anyway, so these people, you know, they are thinking, oh, our country is fine, my life is fine, my day-to-day family, social, work life, services I consume is fine, I'm happy, okay? And I bet you if you go to a lot of these countries, well, to be fair, there's a very large difference between a lot of the societies in throughout Europe. But ultimately, even in Greece, the people are happy people. I've been going to Greece on a holiday to a small town for the last 15 years. Every year, same place. People are happy, okay? They don't have money, but at least people are happy, okay? Anyway, why are they unhappy? Why do they have no money? Corruption, you know, lack of democracy, you know, with money, problems with money, okay? So this lack of democracy thing is something which I agree with, okay? And I just think the best way we could go about this would be to just raise awareness about what's going on in the European Union, okay? And getting people to see what we see. Because, like I said, these people are just getting on with their lives in different countries. And over the last 2 years, Italy have done a little bit. There's barely been any sort of anyone backing us up. And that's because the awareness isn't there. We're the only ones who suffer the most because maybe we have, more, I don't know, we're one of the largest powerhouses, I don't know what word to use for the within Europe, so we get higher tariffs, sort of thing. But I personally think that's fair because a country like Greece we should suffer a little bit more because that we have more than them or whatever. It's not right for everyone to be equal, and for the Brexit Party to be upset about not being treated equally is wrong, because you can't get on as a union, and benefit from what we benefit today if you, like I said, if you can't work together as a team. So, look, with awareness, this video is to raise awareness, okay? This video saying the European Union, to all my European friends, England do not hate Europe. They don't. The Brexit Party hate the European Union because they hate undemocracy. I don't know what the opposite of democracy is. They hate there being corruption, no democracy. English people, we hate there being things not being fair. We have always taken the initiative, during history to correct things, put them right, or if someone rises up, we resist them, okay? And I would like my European friends and the whole of Europe, especially young people, I'm 24, just turned 24, to realise that the European Union is undemocratic, okay? But leaving it doesn't outweigh the small 1 point that it's undemocratic. There's more disadvantages for leaving than there is for just noticing that this 1 point. It is true, it's undemocratic, but so what? What is the point of raising that, okay? Because at the moment, like David Cameron proved to us, we can't do anything about it, so all we can do is raise awareness. Leaving, there's so many things which could make us worse off by leaving, So rather than running away, we could still benefit and have, society we've been born into in England, what we know today, we can still keep that, right? And not have to leave, but change how things are done, okay? And the way to do that is to raise awareness. You need to plant the seed and build the momentum throughout Europe, okay? Different countries of Europe need to realise that things are undemocratic, and if the European Union want to tell us they're not, they can come out and prove to us that we're lying, because we know that they're lying, okay? FIFA is another great example, okay? That had a very corrupt leadership, okay? But that represented something which we still enjoyed very much, And it's just like the European Union. The football teams, they weren't affected too much, were they? Maybe some odd results were affected, right? But the actual quality of things from each football team didn't change, but there was corruption in the leadership, fine. It's the same with us in the European Union. How things we work in our nation, right? Working fine, more or less. But and that's with the corruption. And if we leave, things might not go fine anymore. So yeah, raising awareness really, I think, is the best thing. And I just want to say to Anne Whitcomb, thank you for raising awareness. However, leaving just based on this one small point that does not outweigh the negatives of leaving. It honestly doesn't. Like, and I'm just afraid what's happening now in the UK, you know, with the whole, we're going to do a no deal, and that's not what the public want, is it? You know, they didn't vote for that. So that's undemocratic, you know. It's really a shame that that's happening in England. Before, we've always voted as a majority for a Prime Minister, okay? And we've got on with things fine. But at the moment, the majority for the Conservatives, you know, is low. And what they're doing is they're now like getting together in their what is there? There's like a group of 250 of them, like the Conservative Party. If you're not part of the cricket club, you can't comment. The digital world does not like that. People can see what's going on from the age of 7 on their smartphone, right? They can learn about anything that they want, right? They can have their opinion. You know, there is complete transparency now in the digital world. You can't work like a dictatorship and oppress. You can't. Because it's being hypocritical against what we've stood for as a country, isn't it? So look, this one point, it's not worth leaving over this one point, which by leaving, we're just unhappy about it. Okay, but what is the point of leaving? It's going to... I want to know. I just want you to list against all the different things which we know today, how leaving is going to make us better off, because I don't think it is, honestly. The problem is that we don't like there being a lack of democracy, okay? We like being part of Europe, but we don't like being, we don't like the lack of democracy, you know? The union and the defence and all the security, those sort of things, by being one, is also great, you know? Being with Europe. You know, in Germany, they sent out that really heartfelt message, didn't they? You know, how much they thank us for the help we gave them, you know, in the past to recover their nation. That was really beautiful. They didn't need to do that. That was the most selfless, sort of empathetic thing. They understand our situation, you know. Anyway, to address this problem, it's not to leave, okay? No one can deny the truth, okay? And I promise you, young people today, we're like me from England, I know people just like me in other countries of Europe. We've all got the same level of brain development and education. We're all very, you know, forward thinking. If we can raise awareness for what's going on, they will only want to do the right thing, just like me. Okay, so rather than well, I don't know, threatening we're leaving is a good way of raising awareness. You know, it works, but it's probably not the best way. The best way is to probably, I don't know, go to these countries and make it clear that the European Union is being undemocratic. And the genuine fact that Anne Wickham only had 90 seconds to speak in itself shows that, you know, things aren't fair, you know? That's ridiculous. And the fact that the union itself doesn't have some sort of judiciary system, or I don't really, you know, it isn't set up in a way to remove, you know, undemocratic behaviour, shows that it's undemocratic, right? And I don't think that leaving outweighs the benefits of remaining, okay? It's not good to be part of something which is undemocratic, and maybe we can't change it, but I think we can. But even, look, if the Conservatives Party or whoever, you know, they think it's unchangeable, you're wrong. You're genuinely wrong. Because young people today, they don't want, you know, dodgy things happening. They don't want that. All you need to do is raise awareness for how things are undemocratic. That's literally it. And we stay in the EU until, I don't know, most of Europe realise why we have made such a big deal of this because it's not because we hate Europe, you know, but they are undemocratic, you know, and we need to understand why, rather than attack them and blame them. Maybe it's because, oh look, England, they're so great, we're jealous. Probably, you know, you've got to just empathise and understand the root cause for why people are the way they are, okay? And they might not want us to be, they want to hold us back, okay? Fine. But that is a generation of 50, 60, 70-year-olds, you know? They did not grow up with technology. They did not grow up with the internet. They did not grow up in an interconnected world. Us young people across the world, it doesn't really matter really what culture you're from these days. We're basically the same, you know? You might look different, but that's about it. So all I'm saying, don't leave in, you know, all of a sudden. Just get, I don't look. If it's impossible to change, fine. We'll have to leave, okay? But I genuinely think the best solution, the better solution than going up to them and asking them, oh, please, can you change, is to build momentum and get the buy-in from the right people to then influence and implement and realize change. Okay? It's possible. It genuinely is possible. The way IDEO, I did a really good course from them, and just designing our digital world to create a successful product, you know, like a hospital, for things to run smoother. You have to go up to the nurses and say, we're changing things. You know, they don't like that. They want to keep things on paper. They want to keep things between themselves. But is that the best thing for the hospital? No. You have to look at all the stakeholders, like I talked about before, okay? And what is best to create change is to not go up to them and tell them they're wrong. Because they aren't. They're right in their own way, in the same way that the European Union and the people within there who are being undemocratic are being undemocratic for, you know, some probably legitimate reasons, such as we fear the threat of England from, like, taking control. We don't want that. That is what we would do to them, probably. Because we're doing it right now. We're doing it to the European Union. We don't like their control. So we're telling them, oh, we're leaving. We hate you, you know, whatever. You know, we hate your democracy. And with us in there, they're probably thinking, oh, we don't like their power or whatever. So we want to keep them back. So it's basically the same thing. So why are they like that? The reason that they're like that is probably, like I said, they feel threatened or something like that by us. You know, England is a famous country, but I think one of the fundamental problems of the whole situation is being too proud of England. Because, like I'm saying, young people today, where the world's going, where you're from, who you are, is more and more irrelevant. Like, innovation and what's happening throughout the world is taking place in different pockets all over the world, from that clever brain, that person. It doesn't matter where you're from anywhere, you know? Like, guys in Argentina came up with blockchain. You know, that is the next future mechanism for how the world is going to work, you know, in a connected, internet-based world. It's crazy. There will be no need for a middleman in a transaction anymore because of the way it's difficult to describe it. It's like a new internet where viruses and theft, it's impossible to happen because it's every single person and things that they do has a unique code which is impossible to interpret because everything is different. It's brilliant. The internet, everything is made of the same things, but this is different. Anyway, it's not the best explanation, but whatever. So what I'm just trying to say is that it's not about where you're from, okay, anymore, really. And if we really want to understand the problems we have with the EU, the undemocratic things that they're doing to us and they're doing in general, we've got to understand why that is, okay? And I think I've probably touched on it a little bit. People are undemocratic because they want to have power. But what I'm trying to say is, I've just lost my train of thought. We just really need to understand that, and when you can understand the root causes for different things, okay, then you can come to a solution, because you can create something, design a strategy, which in the end will achieve what you want, because you've taken into account people's emotions across the board, It's a very clever thing to do, rather than just thinking in your own ways, because at some point someone's going to come up with something which you won't have an answer to, And I think the really good approach is to raise awareness, but in a less hateful way. It's a start what we're doing, but I actually condemn the approach of the Brexit Party. It's immoral, and it is behaving in like a dictatorial, I don't even know if that's a word, like a dictatorship style way, isn't it? Laughing at this and that. You can't really do that, So get people's buy-in, get the buy-in of Europe, raise awareness. This video itself could genuinely, get the buy-in of all the countries, and then go from there. Because to run away, like I said, it's going to cause us a lot of problems which haven't been thought out, and there isn't a solution for, is there? It's all just caught up on this one point. We don't like things because they're undemocratic, but the things that's come with where we've arrived today, fine. And the disadvantages it's going to bring us, there's a few, okay? So, I would love for people across Europe to watch my video and let's talk about it.